Hey guys, just wanted to do a quick vlog update, kind of go over a few things that have been going on, some of my progress, and what I'm up to over the next few weeks. So first off, we'll start with the white ink moon that I did. So you can see it is still a little bit a little bit scabby in places. White ink is quite a bit thicker, so it healed quite a bit different. I said last week that it was quite a bit more painful than black ink or any other ink I've done a lot of, red ink, whatever. That's because it's pretty thick, so it creates a lot of pressure under the skin. So you can see there's a few spots that are still healing. But that's the first pass, and it is quite subtle, which is more than okay with me. Now I'll be completely honest. When it first started peeling, or rather right before it started peeling, it went like a deep gray color. It was like more black than white, but like muddy. It was kind of concerning. I was like, what's happening here? Is this just going to be black? Is there going to be anything left at all? And if there had been nothing left, I would have still showed it off, and I would have been completely honest about the whole process, because that's part of what I want to do on this YouTube series, is shed some light on this, because a lot of people wonder like how these things are going to heal, and so do I, really. And we did a lot of detail in this thing. Like, there's a lot of little details. We didn't pack it solid white. Now my tattoo artist's seen it, and he thinks it's actually going to heal out whiter than it looks even right now, because the way the skin heals is it's real shiny over top, and so some of that, when it'll go away, it will reveal more of the white underneath. And also as those scabs kind of start to heal up, the more white will show through from those, because those are still a little bit dark gray and crunchy looking. But yeah, so that's the white ink tattoo. Overall, it was a great experience, and I will be doing more of it in different places. This one will be hit at least one more time, maybe two more times, before I'm content with it. And I'm just gonna do it the exact same way I did it the first time. Just hit it again and again until it looks pretty well as good as it does day one. And that will happen. Like, that moon got posted on Ink Magazine, and like, I don't check too many of the comments, but what kept happening is everyone just kept going on about how white ink won't stay, and it'll never stay, and blah 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 blah. It's like, these guys have no, like, are people so worried about the pain of a tattoo that it's like, oh, what if I have to do it again? So you spend the 10 minutes. Like, it's that simple. Who cares if you have to do it again? You survived it once. What are you afraid of, not being able to sit for it again? Like, one of my biggest things about tattoos is, if it's worth doing once, it's got to be worth doing more than once too, because every tattoo will fade. Every one. This chest piece barely faded. I had it touched up this year, but it still did fade. It was put in perfect. It was a 12-year-old piece, but it did fade. And it's fine if you want to live with faded tattoos. I have no problem with that. People look great with faded tattoos, but all tattoos fade. It's not just white ink fades. White ink fades at a faster pace, clearly. And it doesn't show as clearly when it mixes with the ink underneath. But who cares? If you want to do it, if you do it a few times, it will stay. That is a guarantee. So it's just about your patience and how much you want to do it. How badly you want it. Really, that's all it is. It's not about whether it's possible or not. It's all about whether you are willing to put in the work for it. That's what it's about. Because you can see, even on one pass, it is different than the black. You can see it even from across the room. And this is one pass, and it's heavy detail, and it's on a hand. So, I mean, if we had done this on, like, my outer bicep or my shoulder or something, it would probably be almost as good as it was when we put it in. But being a cook, working with my hands every day, and also just hands in general are dry, we put it on probably one of the hardest places for it to hold up, and it still is there. It didn't all fall out like people would have you believe. And as I said, my artist thinks it's going to be even brighter than it is now when it's fully healed. So there's that. Um, I'll get off that rant. It's just, I shouldn't even bother reading any of the comments, but the few you do read, it's like, man, people are really weak. Like, people are really scared of pain, because all you got to do is spend 10 minutes and hit it again, and it'll be better than it was the first time. Another 10 minutes, it'll be better than it was the second time. That's all it takes. It's really not that scary. Really not. All of my work has been done multiple times. Like, you can't have work that looks this solid done once. We've been brought into social media that shows us first day tattoos, and that's what we're seeing all the time. We're not seeing those tattoos as they heal. We're not seeing that there's patchiness, especially in black work. I'm finding it's really bad. Like, there's some really big black workers that show the day one, and then you never see how it healed, and that's because a lot of times you can't account for the inconsistencies that are going to show through the work later. You're not going to want to show off that there's a patchy spot. See, that's why I've done these spots quite a few times, is because I'm ironing out every single flaw in my work. You don't get fingers that are this solid doing it once. You go see someone who's tattooed their fingers once, and you want to see how patchy it is. It's not good. So if you're going to be willing to do it once, you have to be willing to do that more than once. But it is just a game of patience. That's all. It's not about whether it's possible. I said recently I was going to be stretching my forward helixes. I didn't mention it last week, but I had already done them once then. And now I've done them twice since. Or not twice since I mentioned I would do it. So this is at about a 9. If I had to gauge it, it'd be about a 9 gauge. And then this one's about a 10. I use half sizes for all of my stretches, so that basically it's really easy and really fast to stretch, because you're not doing that much trauma to the skin, or the tissue. It's almost like no change at all when you go up a size, because the increments are so small that it's almost like you're not stretching so much as you are like kind of, how would I describe this? It's like, it's a little snug when you put in a new piece of jewelry. It never really feels like it's pushing too hard on it. It is my absolute preferred way to stretch piercings, and I'll never do any other way. And I get all of those kits from Stone Wolf Adornments. I have several kits for different sizes, but these will only go to probably the same size as my Traguses, about 2 gauge. I'm thinking 2 gauge tunnel in these, just because there's now a whole lot of tissue there, and I don't really want to be irresponsible. I'm also sporting a new piece in my cartilage. I finally got it to be, my helix piercing is finally a perfect circle, because helixes like to sit in a weird sort of oval shape. So I finally have a nice acrylic piece in there that's very comfortable, and my ear doesn't stick out nearly as much anymore. And yeah, it's finally taking on a perfect circle, which is quite nice, because now I can stick my finger all the way through it, and I can even get my thumb through it. So that's kind of a little flex. Recently, Kevin, the shop manager that does the podcast with me, said we should probably get this piece put into the Guinness Book of World Records, because there's probably no one in the world with a bigger helix piercing than this. And the unfortunate thing about that is it may be true, but it's hard to tell, because there's a lot of unknowns out there. Like, for example, if you just lived in your city and you never spent any time online, you'd assume, or I could very easily assume, I had the biggest labret or the biggest septum piercing in the world, because I've never encountered anyone with bigger than me. So the difficulty in proclaiming you have the biggest is that, well, in those cases, I know I don't. Obviously, there are people with bigger lip and noses than me, septums than me. But for the helix, I haven't seen one personally, but there may be one out there. Maybe if anyone else has seen one, just let me know. I would love to see a bigger one than me, because this is personally where I'm calling it quits for mine. I do think I'm probably close on most stretched piercings, like big gauges. But again, that's another one where you're kind of not sure because you haven't seen some of the unknowns out there, right? There could be a guy who's taken it way farther than me that's just private about it, and full respect for that. And I will say one more thing, because I want to keep this fairly short. I got a new tattoo, and most of my right arm is blacked out again, at least the forearm and the elbow. Yeah, so I got this new black on black rose, and people keep asking me already, is it going to stay? Is it going to heal? And these are the people that I can't stand, to be quite honest with you. And I think I'm getting more annoyed at that question as time goes on, because I keep showing examples. Like, I post a lot about my healed black on black tattoos, and even I'm going to do a post with this moon soon, where I just kind of keep pushing that yes, it will stay, yes, it will stay, yes, it will stay. No matter how many times you say that, it's like, you know what, if you're not going to read the answer or even look at then why are you asking? Like, yes, it will stay. It will be a little more faint than it is now, but it'll be almost the same. And that's because this work is not traumatized at all. This rose has like no trauma in it. Like none. Because it's just lines. The fill-in is already done with the black that was there previous. And that's all healed. So yes, it will be just as it is. People were asking already if I've got plans to put white ink into it. And I don't currently want to put any white ink into this one. I think I'm going to keep it black, but I might do some dot shading in it. We'll see what we can do. Dot shading might be fun, just to bring the petals out a little bit. And yeah, we'll see what we do. I'm good with it for now. I might be able to make it a little more distinct. While I'm on that note, I will show the healed lines for this piece. Look at that, it stayed. It's amazing. It dried up in the same spot as the last one. I had a little dry spot on the other side too, in this exact same spot. Must just be a lot of movement there or something. So yeah, but yeah, perfect heal. It's, if anything, maybe even darker than it was day one. And now this, I should show off again, is pretty well fully healed now. Last time I showed it off, it was still a little bit dry in places. So yeah, now that's fully healed and super dark. So that's what black on black looks like when it's healed. So for anyone wondering, that's what it looks like. Again, part of why I'm enjoying doing YouTube more than Instagram is, even though I got a lot less views on YouTube right now, at least I know if you watched the video, you heard what I said. Where on Instagram, it's like, if you're just scrolling through, there's every chance you didn't even read it and you're just assuming it's day one or something. But a lot of what I'm posting is healed. And I'm doing that on purpose to show people what you can do if you want to. So anyway, I did have a lot of other things I wanted to talk about, but I can save those for another day. I'll be doing a vlog again next week, and I'll show off this one healed. And don't be surprised when it looks almost identical to how it looks today, except this will be a little bit lighter and less swollen because it won't be fresh black. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you again soon.